Hello, folks. This is Joe Wheaton from Utah State University, and this is just a little introduction to Module 2. The live version of this was on August 12th, 2020. So we wanted to welcome you and first introduce you to today's instruction team. So there's myself from Utah State University, Steve Bennett also from USU, Anna Branch in ELR, and Jeremy Maestas from the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and Nick Bowis. So this is who you'll hear from in this half-day module. This module is intended to occupy a morning session. It's about 9 to noon. And what we're going to go through are the underlying science and case studies for low tech. And so really this is part of this 5-module series. And the purpose of this module is to help get an appreciation for some of the science, not a complete overview, but some of the primary studies that have built confidence in low-tech process-based restoration. And so we'll do that by walking through these 3 particular case studies and some of the ongoing and outstanding science. And so there's going to be a case study on beaver dam analogs, which is from both Bridge Creek in Oregon as well as Birch Creek in Idaho that Nick Bowis will present. Then there will be a case study from the Asotin in southeast Washington from the Asotin Intensively Monitored Watershed. That's going to be focused more on post-assisted log structures. And then Jeremy Maestas is going to talk to us a little bit about building resilience with low-tech PBR. And finally, Jeremy and I will wrap up with just a little bit of just sort of a preview of some of the ongoing science. There's a lot still to learn and some outstanding topics. Then there's some also, we're going to make a pitch for the co-production of science. There's a lot of ways in which science can be useful to informing practice, and so we'll try and highlight some of those places. In terms of today's audience, so it'll probably be a lot smaller audience than particularly the first module, but there's going to be some of you in terms of who signed up for the original online version of this. Of those just over 1,000 folks. We've got a small contingent of university folks, about 50, and then a lot of what Jay Wild would call ologists. And so the ologists, in large part, are responsible for doing some of the science to give some of the the practitioners, the engineers, the managers, the ranchers, etc., confidence in this. And so Jay Wild, when we do our introductions in our in-person workshops, always asked everyone to raise their hand on, who considers themselves an ologist or an and Jay identifies himself, of course, as a rancher, but then we've worked with him long enough to know better that he's also an inquisitive amateur scientist, so he can have both of those titles. And if you look at the distribution of folks that sign up for the original workshop, there's the scientist contingent is really nicely distributed from the overall sort of footprint of where people are from. Just as a reminder, you can get the slides and the videos for all of this on the website. You can get right into the workshop, and there will be links to all of the materials presented in this this particular set. Of course, once you're in there, if you want to, from the 2020 workshop page, click on slides and handouts. That'll take you in, and then you can go into the particular module page and get those resources. In terms of the science behind some of this, a little bit of this is reviewed at a high level in the design manual, primarily through citations at chapters 1 and 2. But we're going to go a little bit more in depth than the manual does on some of the sort of key studies that I think gave the practitioner community and the regulatory community confidence in proceeding with low tech. So that's what's in store, and if you're interested, watch the next videos by clicking ahead.